Hey, what's up everyone? Tetris here. Happy New Year. I hope you had some great holidays. In this video, I'm gonna introduce you to the absolute best currency mapping strategies for non-up to semi-MF characters with the Path of Exile 3.23 Affliction League mechanic. I've been testing every single league mechanic and their interaction with the new Affliction League mechanic to find the most lucrative and, more importantly, in my opinion, the most fun setup that you can run to farm hundreds of divines to invest into your character, or maybe make a new build like aspirational builds like Armor Stacker or a full MF character. So if you had enough of Abyssal Spice and waiting for your whole existence to fly by before the first rare appears, then stay tuned, as I've prepared something very special for you. As always, I've compiled an Excel sheet with every bit of the relevant information that you need for everything there is to know about the league mechanic, about the strategy I'm using, why we are using different setups, like why, for example, different scarabs, and all the trees, everything. So if you don't want to watch this video, just feel free, go to the description, check out the sheet, and it should give you a very good idea on what to do, not like this, fixed, and what not to do, basically. So yeah. First of all, if you aren't familiar about Affliction Juicing, I highly recommend you watch Fabkan's Diamond Strategy video and ZZ Games video about Affliction. I've linked both videos down in the description below. So, what is Affliction Juicing? Affliction is the new league mechanic that we got in 3.23, and it allows us to juice our maps with very high modifiers to quantity and rarity, and also gives us a conversion modifier for currency conversion. So basically, we convert loot into currency. So the idea is to scale our loot with the league mechanic and to scale rare monsters, as many rare monsters as we can get, via usual league mechanics like Legion, Breach, Abyss, Harbis, and so on. The reason why we want as many rare monsters is because they can become God-touched since the Arch Nemesis League. And God-touched rare monsters give you loot explosions. They have certain mods that are associated with certain rewards, like for example, all items drop as 6-socketed. And all these mods can combine into different things, like all items are 6-socketed, 6-linked, and all items get converted into currency. This is how you get the big loot explosions you might have seen maybe on screenshots on Reddit and in YouTube videos. I have to warn you, this strat is incredibly difficult. Like, I don't think there's a harder mapping strat that you can do right now. The juice that you get, especially if you get like an 8k, 9k, 10k forest, combined with tormented red beasts, is truly terrifying. Like, those mobs are hitting hard, they are insanely fast, you can't kite them. There's a lot of like stun and ailment threshold on them, so it's not that easy to freeze them or stun them. So CC is kind of sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And the mods they get are they they are pretty hard, especially if they get like life dragon on them or something like that. So you need a build that can handle this type of content. Like I've compiled on my sheet, I've compiled a couple like build requirements that should give you an idea on what you should aim for when doing these kind of maps. Like, just to give you an idea, my character is pretty cracked. Like, I've invested about 2 to 3 mirrors into this character yet. And this is still, by the way, the low budget version. So like, yeah, I have an absolutely cracked character. I have over 60 million single target DPS. I have over 140k Fizz EHP, 150k Ele EHP. I'm immune to chaos. I have 1,000 things like corrupted blood immunity, emmet immunity, basically a pretty sick build. And I'm still dying. Like, I am level 99 right now. I leveled up to 99, although I have to say most of those levels weren't with this setup. This setup is harder, and I wouldn't expect you to level unless you have an even better character, which of course is possible. Like I'm kinda new to these things, and I've made like my own build this league, so yeah, whatever. The point is, this is very hard. Keep this in mind. You can test this yourselves. A pretty good example are the memories for the Tormented Spirit memories. I'm not quite sure how they are called. You can buy one of those, just run them. They are not very costly, I think like 1 divine or something, and they give you a pretty good idea, because the mobs that are in those maps get 3 to 4 or 5 Tormented Spirits, which further increases the difficulty, but those mobs aren't red beasts, so this decreases the difficulty. Anyway, the point is you can try to test it in those maps. If you can clear those maps quite well, then sure, go ahead, do the strat. I've bricked a couple maps when doing this, so I've had maps where I only got like half the loot from the map or even less. However, this is really not a big deal. You're gonna make so much currency, it really doesn't matter, as long as you can buy the setup once, which is in my current setup 40 divines with the winged scarab sextant, which you don't need, as I said earlier. You can do a 30 divine setup as well. Works quite the same, and you can probably expect to make about 100 divines back, so I don't know, like 70 divines profit, give or take. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. This strat varies a lot. I'm gonna go to the loot breakdown later anyway, so to give you an idea what you can expect. So my idea was, instead of using this very expensive setup that people are running, that I'd rather like to run a setup where I'm not punished for skipping maps entirely. And this is because I like to run forests, and I find it incredibly frustrating if I have a bad forest, because I know at the start of the map, this map is gonna cost me like, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes, and I know the loot is like 1/10 of a map that could have been a very juicy one. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still using a very expensive setup with 40 divines investment for 16 maps, but you'll see the way the trees set up and basically the sextants and scarabs are set up, that this is very, very feasible to just skip maps, skip bad forests, and only do forests with 5k juice and upwards. This way you will get a lot more currency. It's a lot more fun because of the big loot explosions and just divines raining down like chaos orbs. And it is also very scalable with the different mechanics you can put in. Like you don't have to invest 40 divines to have similar results. Like, of course you're gonna have worse results with less investment, but you can start with like 4 divines invested for 16 maps and make, don't let me lie, I think I've made 60 divines with the low investment tree. I've done it twice this league. So yeah. Now that we got that out of the way, we can finally move on to this real strategy. So we are using Harbis, we are using Beasts, we are using Beyond, we are using Endless Deli, and we are using Tormented Spirits. And we are not using Wandering Path. The reason for that is because even though Wandering Path is pretty good, it gets outshined by these powerful notables. For example, just to make it pretty easy to understand, like Wandering Path, the most important part about this is the increased effect of quantity that you get by your map, and this scales incredibly well if you use 8 modded maps with like 120, 130% quant. However, keep in mind, with Wandering Path you only get 30% increased effect. That's around 45% quant on your map. Meanwhile, this node, the Shadow of Hunger, allows us to get at least 1 to 2 altars per map more than you could have gotten without it with Wandering Path. And this alone will almost always get you the quant back that you're missing. Not entirely. Like you have to get at least 2 to 3 quant altars more than you would have gotten without. but it's still very, very close. And all these other notables, like for example King Harbi, like first wave, that lets your harbingers be replaced by powerful harbingers. They are so incredibly powerful. Also great migration. 8% chance to have like 40 rare mobs which have all increased rare and rarity and quant modifiers. Or let's pick another one. Where is it? This one, Unrelenting Torment. You get 10% chance that your map boss is surrounded by Tormented Spirits. That doesn't matter. You don't care about this. But you care about the 30% more quantity of items found by possessed monsters in your map. This is incredible. Like, I'm using Winged Torment Scarabs for 12 Tormented Spirits. And I'm not using the map device for Tormented Spirits, but I'm still getting a lot of Tormented Spirits. And via Seans, we get up to another 5 rare monsters which are possessed. This combined with Bestiary, which already have, as I said, a very, very high quant and rarity modifier, especially Red Beasts, they even have a higher modifier. This scales incredibly well, especially because we are further increasing the quantity and rarity by the leak mechanic. And this is where my strategies or my strategy rather differs from most of the other strategies. I'm trying to find, or I try to find, different leak mechanics that have a big quantity and rarity associated with them to decrease the difference between Magic Find characters and my own character, which is just a semi Magic Find character. Like, I have one Ventus with 9% quant, and I think I have like 156% rarity with my Goldflask and Ventus. So not very much. And the reason why I want to do it is because a lot of people are playing Magic Find this league, and a lot of people are paying money as if they were Magic Find characters, which means they pay a lot more than they are used to. And so I don't want to compete with those people, because they're just going to make more than I do if I run the same setup, right? So, Harbi. First of all, Harbi. Harbis don't... you can't increase your rewards from Harbis by your player quant. You can only increase it by map quant, which means like your rolled map and Ether altars. They are insanely important, like insanely important. The difference between killing 6 Harbis without 2 or 3 altars and with 2 or 3 altars are like at least 2 fracturing shots. I'm not kidding. It's 2 fracturing shots. So, Harbi has the... it's actually a downside. You can't apply your item quantity and rarity on Harbis. And also, the Forest Juice can't be applied to the Harbis itself. So they don't scale with the league mechanic. However, Harbis spawn a lot of monsters, similar to Ibis. And a lot of rare monsters especially, and you can get twice as many Harbis on your map as you can get Abysses baseline without rolling your map. That means it's far easier to set it up, and it's also a lot faster. Like, just kill a Harbi, even if it's a Harbi boss, and stand next to a Spire and tell me what the difference is. Like, you can finish 3 maps while you can finish 1 Spire. And this is the main reason we want to do it, because actually what most people get wrong is, yes, you want to get a lot of rare monsters, but it doesn't matter if you get 200 rare monsters via 2 maps or via 1 map. It really doesn't matter, because the time investment to kill them is the same. The only difference is the investment into the map itself. So if we can, with this setup, with the Harbi setup, and all these things combined, if you aren't using Winged Scarabs, your investment is at around, I think, 100 chaos, including the rolled map, like the 8 mod map that you want to run this on. So is basically nothing compared to like Abyss spam, where your full investment with everything included is like 70 divines for 16 maps, which is let me break it down really fast, 5 times the cost. 5 divines per map cost. That's what I meant to say. So this way we have almost no investment, or rather compared to other strategies we have almost no investment, while also maintaining the huge benefits that the league mechanics give. So why beasts? As I explained earlier, beasts have a higher quant and rarity modifier than normal rare mobs, especially red beasts. And with Great Migration, this notable, you have 8% chance to contain additional packs of beasts. Usually in a map you get like 12 to 15 beasts, and with Great Migration, if it procs, you get around 35 to 40 beasts on this single map. If you are lucky and you get a big forest on a map that procced, you will be raining in divines. Like, I'm not kidding, every single beast is gonna drop a divine, or at least it feels like it does. Especially if you combine this with Unrelenting Torment, and the Tormented Spirits possess the beast. The way I run my map will not really make sure that this is gonna happen, but I increase the chances of this happening, and you will feel it. Like, if you've gotten a Scarab Explosion with a Tormented Spirit, you will see it. Like, you have 4 to 5 screens of Scarabs on your map. Like, I'm not kidding, it's absolutely insane. Also, another insane notable is subtle manipulations if you're running my high investment setup with free winged Scarabs. This node gives us a 10% chance not to consume Scarabs. If you're using 3 winged Scarabs and 1 gilded, that's 28 chaos per map on average that you are saving up on. If you're using 4 winged Scarabs, that's I think 37 chaos at the current market prices per map. Like, show me a single node that you can reach within 5 points that gives you an average of around 28 to 36 chaos per map. Like, sure, you are gonna make more with raw divine drops and like I don't know, Hinicorous locks, but this node is absolutely disgusting. If you're using winged Scarabs, don't skip out on it. Tormented Spirits, as I said, it's this node, Unrelenting Torment. You get 30% more quant in addition to the normal increased quantity modifiers that you get from these small nodes, and you also get a little bit more possessed mobs. It also helps because we are, or at least this is not mandatory, at least I am using in my setup, I'm using the Winged Scarab Sextant. Reason for that is the Winged Scarab Sextant is unbelievably underpriced currently. I bought it for 12 divines, I think, each, and it was at 9 at some point this league. Meanwhile, you get at least 15 divines out of those scarabs. At least, like, without any further investment, you get 15 divines scarabs safe. Which is why I'm also using it. It helps sustaining my winged scarabs. As I said, this is not mandatory, but Cians and all the Tormented Spirits are enabling this sextant. Okay, so the next point, Beyond and Deli are pretty self-explanatory. They both add a ton of monsters on your map, especially Deli. You almost have no investment aside from these 2 small points on your atlas, which is also a very important point when doing these trees, that the amount of rare monsters that you get from a single point is actually pretty good compared to the other mechanics. For example, Abyss takes like what I think these are 15 points alone until this small point, just to take a few more mobs on your map, right? So Deli, insane, 2 points, 1 sextant slot, you get additional mobs, you get additional quant, absolutely insane. If your build can run it, you should 100% run it. It's worth to do it, 100%. Next thing, Beyond, as I said, pretty self-explanatory. The good thing about Beyond is there's a lot of small nodes like these that increase the quant of Beyond monsters, and increasing the quantity of monster we want to kill is actually pretty good because we're scaling it with the leak mechanic. So we double down on that actually, basically. Yeah, Beyond adds a ton of monsters. That's basically the reason we use Eta altars and not Exarch, because we want to get as many quant altars as we can get. These are the most important. Also, very, very important altars are duplication altars. Like chance to duplicate a unique is insanely powerful if you have a purple forest and you get a scarab monster. Like scarabs will rain down on you. Same for currency duplication. Like we've tested this, Valdos puzzle boxes, Voidborn keys, even Hinicora's locks are all considered basic currency, which means they can be duplicated by those altars, and you will get a lot more because of the blue juice. So duplication altars, absolutely insane, don't skip out of them. Yeah, either this, no questions. Yeah, that's the tree. I'm gonna link it down in the description as well, so you have it. Also, by the way, I'm usually allocating singular focus. I just didn't have it, so I could more easily open my tree. Singular focus, and I have allocated, or rather favorited, cemeteries, crimson temples, spirit chambers, and dunes. Also one tropical island, which I can switch out for cemetery by now. But basically the idea is to get a lot of those maps that you actually want to run, because maps are quite annoying this league, let's put it this way. The reason this is annoying is because we are rolling our maps for 130% or 120% quant, or we are rolling them to be unidentified with the increased number of rare monsters mod. Like, I'm currently testing this setup. I'm not entirely sure it's actually worth. I'm compiling a list of how much juice I'm getting with each different setup, but the main point that I can 100% say is the amount of wisp you get in the forest scales mainly with quantity and not with pack size. I know most people think pack size is the way to go to scale your juice. It is not. I've tested this with the unidentified maps. Yes, it works in that you get more monsters in your forest, and yes, if they are empowered, you will get more juice. However, you can just test this in desecrated chambers, spam a couple forests yourself if you want to. There's actually not that many more empowered mobs, and only empowered mobs in your forest give you juice, and the wisp, of course. So the pack size is actually not that big of a deal. However, when I've started using Tormented Spirits, I noticed that quantity is quite considerably increasing the amount you get, because one empowered rare monster usually gives me around, I don't know, let's say 200, around 200 juice from one color. Maybe 250, sometimes a little bit less. With Tormented Spirits, I almost always get at least 300. So, and the reason I get 300 is because of Unrelenting Torment, right? And these small nodes increasing my quantity. So, quantity is the most important thing about your wisps, and not necessarily pack size. Pack size is nice, but not necessary, not as necessary as quant. So we want to roll our maps for 120, you see it for 120, 130. I'm usually, if I'm lazy, taking 110% maps as well, like 110 to 115, because we have to roll them ourselves. You could potentially buy them 8 modded, however, it's very expensive. Also, you lose out on the quality. which is very important. So what I did was I just bought maps in bulk: cemeteries, dunes, crimson temples, burial chambers, maps that are nice to run, and then I qualityed them. I rolled them. In this case, for our testing purposes, I rolled them all for increased rare monster modifier, and then I evolved them to get unID'd maps with the increased number of rare monsters modifier to further increase the pack size, bringing me to about 65% pack size plus the mod. And also getting a ton of like 8 modded 120% maps, corrupted maps, right? So this way you stock up on quite a few maps that you can run. Yeah, the investment level is very scalable. It starts from like 300 chaos for 16 maps up to 40 divines for 16 maps. I've included a couple different ways how to go about it, how much it would cost, and the different trees in my sheet as well. So just have a look, and so you know what I'm talking about. If you're using the main tree with the Harbis and the beasts, the setup is as follows. We are using one 16-use Harbinger Scarab Sextant. We are using one 16-use unID'd pack size or winged Scarab Sextant, depending on what you're doing right now. I'm usually switching them around. And one 4-use Mirror of Delirium and one 4-use Beyond Sextant. We are not using 16-use Sextants because they are overpriced as hell. Like Beyond gives you 10% more pack size and costs 10% more pack size for Beyond demons only, and it costs 12 divines. It's not worth it. Like 10% pack size for Beyond demons is gonna do nothing for you. Nothing. It really doesn't matter. The same goes for Mirror of Delirium. They cost like 9 divines more or something than the 4-use ones if you bought 4 of them. So use the 4-use ones and save some currency. For the scarabs, as I said, I'm using 3 winged scarabs. That's Harbi, Reliquary, and Torment. The most important scarab is the Reliquary one. If you don't want to use winged scarabs, please at least consider using the winged Reliquary Scarab. It is absolutely insane. It gives you so much more currency, especially for the God Touch monsters, because it scales with each other. So don't skip out on it. Even if you're not MF, believe me, it's insane. Yeah, as I said, Winged Torment Scarab, and then Gilded Beasts. Like, I don't think 2 rare beasts are worth, like what, 80 chaos more per map. I don't think that's warranted, so yeah, Gilded Beast it is. On the map device, we are using Harbinger via the 7th gate, notable on our tree. And for our maps, we are using at least 110% quant maps and 30% pack size maps. Here's a quick showcase of how I run my maps. So first of all, you're gonna clear your forest, as Farbgun and ZZ have explained in their videos, and then you're gonna go into your map. As you can see, I already looted 2 winged scarabs for my winged scarab sextant, so if I were to skip this map, I only had to loot 1 more. In fact, this is the kind of map, the kind of forest I would actually skip. I think I'm gonna end up at around 3.9k yellow and like, I don't know, 700 purple or something like that. Yeah, it's barely at the edge where I would run the map or not. In this case, I wouldn't. Yeah, afterwards, pick up your shrine as the last thing you do in your forest, and once you pick the shrine, you move into the darkness to have a faster out. Then you're gonna run around in your map and you're gonna attack every single Tormented Spirit to make sure that they possess mobs and you don't accidentally kill them before they do. Afterwards, you go into the boss room, kill the boss, and then you start clearing your map. Notice how I'm trying to keep the Harbis alive if I can, by just jumping around, shooting 1 lightning strike into the mobs and killing everything else, so that I can farm altars before I actually kill the Harbis. Once I've ran across the map 1 more time and picked up a couple altars, I'm gonna start clearing and killing everything. Usually I'm not looting while killing those mobs. In this case, the map didn't drop that much, so I could just keep looting while doing this, and made the process a little bit faster. Yeah, the rest is just clearing your map. That's how it goes. Yeah. In this thread, it is pretty hard to tell you exactly how much you're gonna make, as there's tons of very high variance items, like div cards like doctors, apothecaries if you're running Crimson Temple, unique items like Eyes of a Great Wolf, Mage Bloods, Headhunter, well-rolled Ventus Gambits, and so on and so on. Like there's tons of things that can drop. Hinicorous Locks are another example of something that personally I've only dropped 2 this league yet. However, I've dropped both of my locks in this Tormented Spirits strat. So I don't know, maybe has something to do with it. Anyway, the point is, it is pretty hard to tell you exactly how much you're gonna make. Okay, so I've included a couple different examples on different setups and how much I made. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like for example, screenshot down below. You're not gonna make 120 divines every single 16 map run you're gonna make, right? This was a pretty lucky run. As you can see, I've got a fracturing orb this run and 6 fracturing shards. I've got a 7 years bad luck, a dozen winged scarabs. I've had 42 raw divine drops. I've also had 4 Valdos and 1 Hinicorous Lock that aren't included in this 121 divine screenshot. But yeah, it is pretty hard to tell you exactly how much you're gonna make. However, I've ran this strat around, I think, 150 maps now, so I have a pretty good estimate on how much you're gonna make. I've never made less than 60 divines in currency after I've completed the 16 maps. Never, not a single time. Which is only a 20 divine profit on my setup, right? Or 30 divine if you're on Winged Scarab Sextant, which I wasn't using in the front, by the way. So it's only a 30 divine profit for, I think I need around 3 to 4 hours per 16 map, depending on how many maps I skip, how hard they are, and so on and so on. So that's 5 divine, 6 divine. Let it be maybe 8 divine profit per hour, which is in this league kind of bad. However, if you have a good run, like the one I showed on the left side, I've made, I think, 120 for Valdos, 1 Hinicorous Lock. That's 150 divines, minus 40 divines for the setup, which is 110 divines in 3 hours. That's over 30 divines an hour. Almost 40 divines an hour. Like, there is not a single strat in this entire game for non-MF characters that gives you 40 divines an hour upwards. Not a single strat. Of course, there is a couple strats that are very close. Some bossing strats are very good. Beast memories are insanely profitable. If you haven't seen Belton's video about them, have a look. Absolutely discussing how much currency he made at the start of his league. So yeah, anyway, to get back, I've included a couple of screenshots, as you can see, with all the currency. Yeah, as I said, expect to make 10 to 30 divines an hour in profits without any MF levels. This strat should yield more currency if you're using Magic Find gear, of course, which is also why I'm trying to get more Magic Find gear in my character. Even if it's just semi-levels, it makes a huge difference. So yeah, yeah, that's the loot breakdown. Whew, finally we're done. Yeah, quite a lot of time went into this. I think I sat here for now, yeah, like 10 hours. And worked on the sheet yesterday and the last couple days. So yeah, I hope you liked it. I hope I could help you, and I hope you are gonna make more currency now with this strat. If you liked it, or even if you didn't like it, leave your feedback down in the comments, please. It greatly helps. Also subscriptions and likes, you know the drill. It really, really, really helps. And yeah, I'm trying to get into content creation for PoE, so expect more videos in the future. The next project I'm working on currently is most likely going to be a video about my build, as I've now didn't see anybody covering this. It's an armor stacker with the new lightning strike of arcing. Absolutely incredible skill for clear. It comes close to tornado shot in clearing your maps. It's absolutely disgustingly tanky. Like if you've ever wanted to feel like a god, this is the build, even though you have to sacrifice an arm and a leg for it to make it work. So yeah, let me know if you would like content like this, and if you have any ideas for mapping currency strategies you'd like me to test, feel free, send me a message, leave a comment, and I'll try to cover it. Anyway, thanks for your time. See you next time. Bye!